Greetings from Sidra. Thank you so much for joining me on this 10-day challenge of stepping out of my comfort zone or doing things that frightens me, right? So again, just a disclaimer, I have not been and neither did I intend to do things for the entire 10 days that frightens me, but I have done a few of them. Today, I want to share with you another acronym. And of course, we are defining our own thoughts, our own ideas. We're defining our own selves. And so that's what the acronym, collection of acronyms, is really all about. In other words, defined, right? And you can find that book, my book, on Amazon. You can find it at Barnes and Nobles. In other words, defined, by Sidra Rivers. Now this word, it is in that book. The word is bows. You know what a bow is? A bow is things that we put on gifts, maybe Christmas gifts or birthday gifts. Bows could also be, those little bows that we put in our hair, little girls' hair. Those bows are defined as something with two loops and two loose ends, right? Or even, bows that you wear as a form of an attire when, both men and women are wearing bows today. And they actually look nice. I think they look nice. Or you can even define this particular word as bows, an individual who bends their neck or their back in reverence to someone in a greeting, right? A form of respect. And so it is B.O.W.S. It can be bows or it can be bows, one who bows, right? And again, you define it for yourself. But for myself, it is bows with two loops and two loose ends. And so B.O.W.S. is a word that I want to encourage you with today, is be okay with silence. Be okay with silence. The Bible tells us there is a season for everything, right? Some of us really for real need to take seasons, of just being silent, and then be okay with the silence. Sometimes we even feel comfortable when there is a silence in conversations while we're present, when there's silence, even when we're doing Zoom communications, and definitely when we are on the phone talking to each other. Some of us get uncomfortable with that space, that silence, and you just have to say something, or maybe that silence caused you to think, negative thoughts or thinking what the other person is thinking. But I want to challenge you to be okay with silence. Get to yourself and just be silent. I remember when I first began to learn how to meditate, and I'm telling you, it was really difficult for me, right? To just sit in the quiet and just to be still. But it is definitely a good discipline to develop, right? So I want to encourage you. This time, I'm really going to ask for you to make a comment. I want you to, and hopefully this will be the only one that I petition you to make a comment on. But I think B.O.W.S is one that is really, really one that we all need to develop. We all need to even extend to other people. Let them know, it's okay. I'll hold this space for you to think about whatever it is that you want the individual to think about. And we need to encourage one another, give them permission, right, to be silent, and what's happening in the silence, right? We can just be posturing ourselves. We can just be, quieting, those 1,001 thoughts that's going through our heads, right? We can be, give the other individual time to really contemplate on whatever it is that we're communicating about, right? And then if we're on a Zoom, have our language, whether it's our body language, whether it's our facial expressions, let it be that of an encouragement, so, agree with, with them being silent. Encourage them to, continue to think and to ponder on whatever the conversation is about. If you asking them a question, let them know, you give them permission to, to take their time, right? So again, this time I'm going to ask you to, just make a comment, right? Comment, is this word something that you are comfortable with? Is this word something that you need to develop for yourself? Or is this something that you need to be mindful of in giving others permission to have that time of silence to use that benefit your exchange or the purpose of you guys conversating, right? So that is the word for today. B.O.W.S. B.O.W.S. Be okay with silence. So again, I want to thank you guys for participating. I want to thank you guys for spectating. I just want to, thank you guys for dropping in and watching me, encouraging me, right? The fact that you are watching is an indication to me that is a form of encouragement, that you are encouraging me to continue to do things that is uncomfortable, that is beneficial, right? That helps me to grow, right? Now, you don't want me to do things that is uncomfortable, that is not going to bring me any gain or any growth, right? Wait a minute now. No. Okay. I certainly hope to hear of some of the challenges that you have accepted and some of the gains and the results that you have gotten as a result of you taking on some of these challenges, right? Whether you're by yourself or whether you're encouraging a couple of friends to join you, and maybe you creating your own challenge. That is a good idea. Okay, so again, I just want to thank you guys so much for participating or spectating, and I look forward to seeing you guys again. Thanks. Bye.